Liverpool 5th, 1 point adrift of Chelsea. More on them a little bit later on in the show. For Newcastle, down in 10th, already 7 points off a place in the Champions League. Julien Laurent joins us. We'll chat to Jules in a moment. But Stevie, let's start with you. Just overall, this was certainly the first half was a great game, wasn't it? Second half, Liverpool ran away with it, but this was fun.
Yeah.
I've got the wrong person. Craig, this was fun, wasn't it? If you didn't have a horse in this race...
I think it wasn't fun for half an hour. Let's be honest.
No, but I'm trying to be positive.
It's a neutral point of view.
I feel like we've been critical of the Premier League and we haven't seen as many games as this as we'd like.
But
this was good.
Yeah. I think Newcastle were the stronger side in the first...
Get me caught.
Well, because you were so negative. I was trying to be
positive. Sorry.
Why didn't you enjoy it?
I didn't say I didn't enjoy it.
I thought the first, I don't know how many, 20 to 25 minutes, Newcastle looked sharper, more likely to score. They had a little bit more possession, I think, statistically at the start of the game. Gordon's pace through the middle. Obviously, Kerkez is a nervous wreck at fullback and he had Elanga against him. So they looked comfortable. I mean, they didn't have Bruno Guimaraes, they didn't have Joe Linton. So they had a couple of players out as well. But then you just felt that Liverpool... weathered a bit of a storm. Alisson had to make some big saves, and then they gradually got themselves into the game. But it was end to end, and I think the energy that Newcastle put in the first half, you saw that starting to wear on them in the second half.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's not the first time this season we've seen that. I'm thinking about the Champions League, Barcelona at home. For 45 minutes, they were all over Barcelona like a rash in terms of their intensity. And then De Jong and Pedri just put their foot in the ball, took control of the game, and then they dictated it. It felt like, as this game went on today, Liverpool just started to take more of a control of the game. And once again, the big Frenchman up front has been, and it has been a head-scratcher that why, when Isak was fit early in the season, they wanted to shoehorn him into the side when this guy was in great form, had just come in, scoring goals, leading the line, linking up with people very well. And I think we saw again that today, being in the right place at the right time, making some good runs, always been a threat, and he was a thorn in Dan Burn and Marek Chow's side.
I agree.
Right, you can go home now.
Go get me caught now. No, I was going to say, let's be honest, for 30 minutes, Newcastle were by far the better team.
Yeah.
Yes, Liverpool were trying to go forward at every occasion, but they kept giving the ball away. And then Newcastle were getting after them again. But after that 30-minute mark, particularly after Ekitike gets the first goal, then it was complete role reversal, certainly the second half. And again, it was good to watch because as much as Liverpool were dominating Newcastle, every opportunity Newcastle got, they tried to go forward. So that's why it was an entertaining game of football. But it was I just found it strange that it took Liverpool 30 minutes to actually get a foot in the game. But then when they did, they certainly kept the foot down and went after Newcastle.
Jules, this was good to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. I agree with you. I don't think we've seen enough of those games in the Premier League. You know what I think about this season? I just don't think it's a very good level. It's competitive. That doesn't mean it's quality. The quality of football is there. I don't think it's there, but today it was. I agree with Craig in that intensity from Newcastle that dipped massively after the break, and I think when you have Ramsey and Willock in midfield to replace Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton who are injured, it's just not the same, and they don't play enough to be able to sustain that intensity for 90 minutes. You can probably say the same about Elanga. And then why on earth is Eddie Howe waiting the 72nd minute to bring on Wissa and Voltemade when he's losing the game? And by the way, let's not even go on to the Ekitike second goal, because what are Burn and Chio doing on that ball from Kerkez? They 2v1, and yet they let Ekitike go and to poke that ball like that. So a lot of mistakes from a Newcastle point of view. I like the reaction from Liverpool after going a goal down, obviously, and I love more and more Florian Wirtz and what he's doing. This is very much his team, and his understanding and relationship with Ekitike is becoming very special.
Florian Wirtz's best game? Best big
in
game?
The Premier League, yeah, I would say in the Premier League, yeah. I think it's great from a Liverpool point of view that him and Ekitike are absolutely starting to form a little bit of a partnership and read each other. And
What's changed?
See this goal. What is it?
Don't interrupt him again.
Well, see this goal contribution. Well, one second. The only reason I say that because we were sitting. He was saying Mo Salah has kicked the ball off Lewis Hall six times, and then he had a little pass to Florian Wirtz for his excellent finish. That's a goal contribution.
Yeah, that's the assist. Yeah. All right.
An assist.
Okay,
Sorry.
go on. Steve.
No, I just listen. At the end of the day, time spent playing together and on the field together helps a lot, and I think the pressure's off as well in terms of. I don't think there's as much pressure on Wirtz now as there was after about 6-7 games when we were starting to question what he was all about. So I think the pressure's off him. There's never been any pressure on Ekitike, to be quite honest, because from the first game to now, both of us, Craig mentioned it earlier, we've been sitting going, why is Ekitike not the starting centre forward? Mm-hmm. So yeah, you've got two guys who are going out and playing and try to do what they do best. And right now, no question, as a parent, things are clicking.
Can Julian be on the show with Stevie and Jan's on?
What, talking about Wirtz being...
No, talk about the Premier League.
Oh, God, no, stop.
I'm not getting... look at all the teams in the Champions League, but no, I'm on board.
Do you agree with Stevie about Wirtz? That it's just been time?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, there's no guarantee for any player, but that you're going to come into... it's when Philip Coutinho left Liverpool, went to Barcelona, he was the star man, wasn't he? And he goes in there, okay, the Messi's there and whatnot, but he really struggled. So there's no guarantees you're just going to pick up from your own country and go to another one and perform. But he's a young guy, he's too good a player, and ultimately he's come into a team, unfortunately for him, that had a very flat start to the season. So that makes it more difficult as a new player coming in. When there's other new players there, you're not playing well, you're very open, and the other new signings are not playing well either, Kerkez and one or two others. So I think it's been a difficult transition for him, but the more they play him in that number 10 role, I think the better he will get and the more consistent he will get.
Jules, this is for what people have been championing a lot about him, who of course saw him play in Germany.
Yeah, completely. I think you always need a bit of time to adapt, and for your new team to adapt to your skill set and your qualities. It's very different to play with Wirtz as a 10, like Craig just said, and what Liverpool did last season, for example. It's a different profile. He plays in a different way. We can see him running a lot because I think he gets that from the Bundesliga. So at times, maybe earlier in the season, he was kind of going too deep and trying to recover the ball and help the midfield and help the defense. And that's not where we want you to be, and we need you to be. We need you to be in those areas like today when you can be decisive. And he's a wonderful player. I've got an issue with Salah in this team again tonight. Okay, it's an assist, but there's another massive chance that he misses. Like he misses one like that in every game, even the easy game like the one away in Marseille, and it's actually quite a very similar chance than the one that Wirtz gives him tonight in transition on the counter attack. I don't know if he's still the best for this position. Maybe he is. I'm just watching him and I think like there's something clearly missing there. There's something that is not right. But for the rest, and again, like we said earlier, this is very much becoming more and more Wirtz's team.
That's a weak area of their team now, isn't it?
Mm. You were shouting quite a lot about it. You were counting the number of times that you gave the ball away, Salah.
Yeah, I think for the first, we've all been asking the same question. How can you go from there to there just so quickly? Generally it takes a bit of time where you start losing a bit of pace and your balance and all these things. But today, Newcastle's right back, what's his name? Sorry, forgotten his name. Trippier. Now Trippier doesn't play every week because Trippier's legs have gone. Trippier's a guy on the other side of his career. And today, Mo Salah had 4 yards on him. A ball was played through from Szoboszlai. Could have been a little firmer, would have helped him. But Trippier caught him comfortably. And Salah actually, at no stage during that little passage, looked comfortable on the ball. So he doesn't look comfortable on the ball. He's got a guy whose legs we do know have gone, catching him, having given him a 3-yard start. That's got to be alarm bells.
Do you know, he scored that great free kick against Karabag in midweek, right? When Szoboszlai rolled it back to him, the role reversal from Bournemouth. But if you watch a lot of his games, even when he was been brilliant and his stats were through the roof, he gave the ball away a lot in those games, even in his pomp a couple of years ago, a year ago, and all the preceding years when his stats are through the roof. He would do things that would make you shout at the TV like he has. He would do things you go, what the hell is he doing there? But the difference is, in my opinion, is that in those games, in those moments, he did something brilliant that changed the game. Maybe not once, maybe twice, maybe, chucking a hat-trick in, picking out a top corner, playing 3 or 4 great balls across. Those things, it seems to me, have kind of dried up. Now, whether it's the legs, whether he's lacking confidence, which I know people might say, well, how can that? But he could, because he knows he's been a guy that the manager's dropped. He's been in the headlines. Okay, he was in the headlines because he said stuff, but he's been in the headlines. A lot of talk about him leaving, and he knows he's not undroppable. He knows the manager will leave him out the side. And so when you're playing those silly passes, 5-yard passes that are not getting to their intended target, and you're hitting an opponent like it was Lewis Hall, and you're not bending a ball in the top corner every second game, you've got to ask, what are you doing? And if we're being truthful about it, what Mo Salah's doing it for Liverpool at the moment since he returned and before he left, it is not a lot.
When he was making those mistakes that you were talking about previously, and he was still scoring important goals,
yeah.
He knew. He's always been the same. Let me put it that way. He's always been the same. He was the same when he was in Switzerland. He was the same when he was in Chelsea. He just didn't have those moments going forward at Chelsea that he's had at Liverpool for 8 or 9 years. And so when he used to give the ball away, it didn't affect his confidence because he knew he could still pick the top corners out. He could still run past people. He could still score these goals and make these assists. But now, and there's nothing worse for a footballer when you realise you're losing things and you're not quite sure why, but it affects every single thing you do. So now when he's giving it away, it's just chipping away at his confidence as well. That confidence looks as though it's shot because any time he gets into any sort of position where he used to pick the top corner out, can't get anywhere close anymore.
One player who's certainly playing with a lot of confidence is Ekitike, who was supposed to be kind of playing second fiddle to Isak, wasn't he, Jules, during the whole transfer saga? We saw Ekitike, and then obviously Isak came in as the number 1. We know he's injured, but even if Isak was fit at the moment, it's very difficult to put an argument as to why the Frenchman should be on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, there's no argument, really. There would not be, even if Isak was fit. I mean, the irony tonight, obviously, is that Newcastle thought they had signed Hugo Ekitike, that they were waiting for him at the airport for the private jet to land, and instead he landed in Liverpool and not in Newcastle, and the rest is history, really. And at the time, he signed for Liverpool, not knowing that Isak would go from Newcastle to Liverpool, but he was supposed to be the replacement of Isak at Newcastle. He's been incredible. The talent was never really a worry here. We all knew how talented it was. We saw that in France. We saw that with Frankfurt. The question mark maybe was he had been to a big club before and he failed in Paris. He was not ready at the time. The question here was, okay, was he ready? It was a few years down the line compared to the move to Paris, obviously. But even at the club, I remember people asking me in the summer, do you think he would be ready now to go to a big club, and arguably a bigger club even than PSG? And now we can see he's ready. It's still a bit of chaos at times, but this is what makes him special. That second goal, I think there's a lot of strikers who don't go for it because they think, okay, Cho is going to come. If Cho doesn't come, Burn is going to come. Maybe I just wait a little bit and wait for a run from Wirtz or from Salah or from whoever. But in his mind, he's got this obsession, and he goes, and at times it's a bit chaotic. You could see the way he plays. But that makes him special, and that will improve with experience, with years. He's going to get more composed. He's going to get even the right decisions better. Like the other, he should have had a hat-trick tonight. There's that big chance in the second half, right, where the ball goes well wide, where these chances are going to get better. But what an impact he's had on this team. What a player. And he's a fan's hero already now, which is everything that he's always wanted.
I think Arne Slot's slightly lucky in the sense that the couple of games, I think it was at least a couple that he dropped him early in the season, that you don't sort of lose a player. You don't annoy him so much that when you have to go back to him, he's pretty fobbed off with you. And I think one of the games was Chelsea away, when Ekitike had started the season really well, and Isak had got himself fit to play, but not really fit in a sense of match fitness and match sharpness. And Ekitike was benched at Stamford Bridge, and Alexander Isak played, and he was clearly not fit. And then he's had these injuries since, but he hasn't played well, and he struggled even before the injury. And then you have to go back to the player that you said, I left you out, I know, but you come back in and do a job for me. And obviously Ekitike wasn't, so annoyed that he's came back in and he showed his stuff. But there's a fine balancing act there, particularly. And I can see it from both sides. You've got a manager who thinks, I need to try and shoehorn this guy in. He was in 150 million, but this guy's playing well. He needs some fitness. And if I'm being honest, I don't think Arne Slot handled that selection process pretty well. But fortunately for him, the player's got his head down, Ekitike this is, and has just continued his form. That we saw it from the Community Shield. From that day at Wembley, it was his first, I think, serious game for Liverpool. And although they lost to Palace that day, he was the beacon of light up front with his movement, his goal, and the way that he linked up. And he's carried that on up until this game today.